The National Election Commission called for nominations of 340 out of 341 local government institutions. Nominations were not called for the LPT Pradeshya Sabha as the tenure for that local government body is yet to expire. According to the National Election Commission, the notice calling for nominations will be on display at the respective local government institutions.
The notice calling for nominations were printed and sent to all district returning officers. The necessary documentation to complete the nomination process was also printed. Next up is the printing of ballot papers and other related matters. The government printer is in possession of the necessary paper material. They would take the responsibility and there would be no issue. Usually all printing matters are handled by the government printer and we have never had any issues with them so far. The election will take place as per the local government areas demarcated by the Delimitation Committee as per the Local Authorities Election Amendment Act number 16 of 2017.
සීමානින කමිෂන් සභාවෙන් ගැසට් කරන ලද කොට්ටාශ සහ ඒ පළාත් පාලන ආයතන සම්බන්ධයෙන් තමයි.
මහින්ද අමරවීර අමාත්‍යවරයා ප්‍රකාශ කළා තියෙනවා මේ ඡන්දේ තියන්න ඕනේ මේ ඒ සල්ලි වලින් මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට අඩුවට හාල් දෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒ සල්ලි පුළුවන් නම් ඒ අමාත්‍යාංශයට බැර කරන්න කියලා මේ ඡන්දේ තියන්න නැතුව කියලා.
ගරු පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තමයි.
The parliament has set aside 10 billion rupees for the election. We cannot move the funds elsewhere. That should be decided by the parliament.
කියන්නේ ඒක පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තමයි තීරණය කරගන්න ඕනේ ඒක කොහෙටද කියන එක. වැඩි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන් බොහෝයට අපි
That is possible. We are trying to keep the expenditure at a low. We believe it would not go beyond the estimated cost as everyone is aware the country is in an economic crisis.
කාර්ය කරන්නේ රටේ ආර්ථික අර්බුදයක් තියෙන වෙලාවක්.
The United National Party on Tuesday said that conducting an election at this time would lead the country to a great disaster.
Tourism is raising its head slowly. If the expectation is to call for an election to pay the salaries of another 8,000 members, that would lead to a slowdown in tourism. Calling for an election at this time would be detrimental to the country.
Several local newspapers, quoting a senior advisor to the finance minister, reported that conducting an election at this time would lead to a situation where the government would be short of funds to purchase the upcoming Maha season harvest. The newspapers had reported that if the government fails to purchase paddy, it would lead to a collapse in the local rice market. The Sri Lankan government aims to purchase 3 million metric tons of paddy from the Maha season, and the senior advisor to the finance ministry had noted that it would cost 2,000 million rupees. The senior advisor was quoted by the newspapers as saying that if the funds are used for an election, the government will not be able to purchase paddy. However, the All Ceylon Farmers Federation expressed the following on the matter.
Did the government purchase paddy during the last season? No, they did not. Was there an election at the time? No, there was not. Now they claim that if an election takes place, they would not be able to purchase the paddy. Do not mislead us with fairy tales. Farmers cultivate for 3 seasons and not a red cent was given to them. There was no election even at that time. Minister Mahinda Amaravira admits that 60,000 million rupees was spent on a failed fertilizer project. They did not benefit anyone. Whose money did they waste? They imported nano fertilizer from India for 7,841 million rupees, and then there was the contaminated fertilizer from China that cost 6.9 million US dollars. You had the money at that time. Stop misleading us and go for an election. They are aware that their mistake will mislead the farmers.
Retired Sri Lanka Army Colonel WMR Vijay Sundara had filed an application with the Supreme Court questioning how would an election that is to be held at a cost of 10 billion rupees at a time when the country's revenue had dropped drastically benefit the country and the people. He filed the petition seeking a writ order invalidating the preparations that are being made for the local government election. However, the National Election Commission said that all election-related activities will go ahead until a ruling is delivered by the court.
Whenever an election is called for, cases are filed with the court regarding the election and even nominations. We will have to function based on a court order. Until such orders are received, the Election Commission will continue with its activities.
එසේ තීන්දුවක් ලැබෙන තෙක් මෙතන කමිෂන් සභාව විදියට අපිට නිශ්චිත කාර්යභාරය අපි කරමින් පවතිනවා.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna stressed that it has no intention to postpone the elections.
We are not prepared to postpone the local government election. The SLPP has made preparations to sign the nomination papers from the 8th for several days. The media reports that a person called Colonel Vijay Sundara has filed a petition with the Supreme Court. That is a citizen's petition.
However, the SJB claims that SLPP is planning on delaying the election.
A retired military officer has gone to courts against the election, stating that the country has no money. Though he filed the petition independently, he is a very close business friend attached to Gotabaya Rajapaksa's election campaign in Anuradhapura. He has been deployed by the SLPP to delay the poll. They are trying to portray themselves as independent via the court.
The Pivithuru Helaurumeya also commented on the election.
A government stooge was deployed to file a petition with the court to delay the elections. The finance secretary was named as a respondent. How can the finance secretary be named as a respondent in a petition against the election? The next item in this script is that the finance secretary will appear in court and say that they have no money to fund the election. If not, there is no point in naming the finance secretary as a respondent.
The Freedom People's Congress calls on for an opportunity for the people to exercise their franchise.
The president does not have the mandate of the people. We have a president who was appointed via a conspiracy. The people need to have an opportunity to declare their mandate. That is our stance.
The lawyers of National People's Power expressed the following.
This is a president who has no mandate, and the parliament too has no mandate. We have several local government bodies with no mandate. There is a constitutional requirement to call for a mandate. That is a fundamental right of the people. Can anyone undermine that right, claiming that the country's economy is not favorable? Why is the election being postponed? There are two reasons. The first reason is that Ranil Wickremesinghe has a party called the United National Party, but they are only a board. It has no members to be put forward as candidates, and there is no voter base. As for the port tour, it is just a torso with Ranil Wickremesinghe's head. So the SLPP does not want to take part in an election and let the people know the status of their 2/3 of power or the 6.9 million votes they received earlier.